Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Violet Vixen. We're going to try and do something healthier tonight. We are doing mustard pork with honey pumpkin mash. And here's what we need. So this is going to serve 4. So going by our new way, if you're not serving 4, 1 tonight. So that's going to be the really good one, obviously, because you're eating it fresh and ready and hot. The second one you're going to have for dinner tomorrow night or take for lunch. So you have a healthy lunch. The other 2 servings, label them, pop them in the freezer and have them whenever you're ready. So let's get ready to go. We need the oven on 200. Grab a roasting pan, spray it, line it with baking paper, and chop your pumpkin up into 3 centimeter cubes. I didn't measure it. We're not building a house, so go by whatever. The smaller they are, the quicker it's technically going to cook. So make them small if you want. And let's go. Okay, so I ended up buying more pumpkin because last time I brought half a butternut pumpkin and weighed it, it wasn't what I wanted. Anyway, probably better to have a bit more pumpkin. I haven't been having many veggies lately. Naughty me, but under the circumstances, shit happens. Okay, so make sure they're really well spread out. Next, we want to drizzle over the top of this 1 tablespoon of olive oil and 2 teaspoons of honey. So, grab your teaspoon, or your 2 teaspoon, and your tablespoon. Okay, 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Try and get it over all of it. Obviously, that's probably impossible. But just realize that you're doing your best with it. Okay, now the 2 teaspoons of honey. This is the fun part because honey sticks like shit to a spoon. So here we go. Oh, good. I'm always amazed. I've been keeping this jar of honey in the pantry. I've had different variations of where to keep honey. Obviously when it's really humid, the ants get into it. No one likes ant honey. Alright, look at that. Yum. Okay, whack that in the oven for 45 minutes. So this is going to be a late dinner if you're cooking dinner as late as I am right now, but I sort of get used to it. Okay. So, pop that in the oven, 45 minutes, and we'll be back. While that's going on, you can get the rest of your ingredients ready. So with your leek, normally it comes with a whopping great long end on it. Cut that out, we don't need that. And cut the bit off at the end. And then just cut these into ribbons. And then make sure you give them a good wash because little dirty particles get in them otherwise. Okay, so with about 25 minutes to go on the pumpkin, I recommend you get started with your pork steak. So I had the butcher cut this specially for me because they're awesome and they look after me. So these are really nice ones. So all going well, I've actually got 4 here. 2. Oh, perfect. Look at that. There's 4 here. Excellent. So I don't really need to cut these in half because I'm happy with those as they are. So what we need to do is we need to spread them with the seeded mustard. And because we're using 2 tablespoons, the way I would do this is I'd actually do half a tablespoon on each one. That way you're going to get a good amount on each one. And if you like me and you like a lot of mustard, seeded mustard, use more. It doesn't really matter. You want to really flavour them. So I'm going to open the new jar of whole grain mustard. I must have used the last one. Alright. So it tells you to spread mustard over both sides of the steak now. Unless you're, you know, a genius or whatever. I don't know how you're planning on doing that. So we're not going to be doing it that way. Alright. So use your handy palette knife. But once I turn them over, they're going to get mustard on them anyway. Alright. So what you want to do is that 60 grams of butter, cut it in half. You want 30 grams of butter in a good thick frying pan. Alright, let's go. Woo! Alrighty, there's our frying pan. I'm using this one because I've still got flowers on the other side, and I really don't want to kill my flowers quicker than I am. A few hot days and they're going to wilt. So, alrighty. So get that butter melted, and then we're going to be ready to put those pork steaks in. So yeah, you can get them from the butcher if you can. I may have paid a bit for them, but the 800 grams cost me $24, I think it was. 4 meals, so it's not that bad when you think about it. And I've got real good pork there, so it's not thin pork as you saw when I was putting the mustard on them. Alright, so I haven't bothered to cut it up because this is going to get the pan hotter quicker by doing it this way. You want to be putting it in a really hot pan anyway, because then that way it seals it a lot quicker. There we go, look at that. Beautiful. Don't put it in until the butter's all melted. Otherwise they're going to be playing with a big globule of butter in the middle. We're getting close though, so it's all good. Okay. So we've got about 20 minutes left on the pumpkin, so all going well. This is, we're going to time this that the steak will definitely be ready before the pumpkin, but we want to have everything ready to go, so we can keep this warm while we're doing the pumpkin. Alright, just a tiny bit more there. I'm just using the tongs because it's going to be easier to do with the pork steak. Alright, carry these pork steaks over gently. I really don't like having them on this thing that I've got them on. Worse if I drop any, they're just going to fall into the frying pan, so mustard side down naturally. Alright, look at them. Alright. Now, you don't really want to cook these for too long, but you got to make sure that they are cooked. The ones that are going in the freezer, you really don't need to cook too much, because when you freeze them and then heat them up, they are going to be cooking still anyway. The one you're having tomorrow, same deal. You're going to be warming that up, so you don't want it really overdone. So basically, whichever one you choose for tonight is the one that has got to be perfect. So keep those simmering away, and we'll be back. I forgot, if you want to season them with salt and pepper, do so now. I always like a lot of pepper, but keep in mind that when you freeze it, the pepper's going to intensify, so probably don't go too overboard with the pepper. Now, in case you're wondering, I have a really weird kitchen here. I do not have an exhaust fan, a range hood, whatever you want to call it, over the top. So any sticky mess or smoke or anything ends up staying within my kitchen. So sometimes I have to go and open all the windows and wave a tea towel, I should say, under the smoke alarm. Becomes a bit exciting, especially when I'm cooking something really hot in a pan. Alright, look at them. Now there's no mustard on the other side, but there's mustard in the bottom, so she'll be fine. That's what I mean. How can you get mustard on both sides? I don't know. Grab a plate ready, because once we lift these out, we are going to be taking them out once they're cooked enough, and we're going to be reusing the pan to do the leeks in, so just grab a plate. So I've just flipped them back over again. As you can see, we've still got mustard there, but if you look underneath, I've got mustard stuck to the bottom of the pan. That's alright. We'll deglaze it when we add the rest of the cream, because when we mash the pumpkin, we're only adding half of that cream. Right, I'm just going to turn that one over again, because that's still got a uncooked spot. Now don't overcook them. But don't really undercook them as well. They're quite thick, so these are going to take a lot longer than your average thin pork steaks that you normally get in the supermarket. Okay, so as I mentioned, I really don't want to burn these pork chops, so I'm going to add that 1/4 cup of cream now. That'll just help deglaze the pan. And I think I'm going to do this a little bit differently. It says to take it out and then put more butter in and the leeks. But because these are such thick steaks, I'm actually going to leave them in. So I'm going to add the more butter and the leeks to the pan so they all cook in together. But if you've got those thin pork steaks, now would be a good time to be taking them out. And I'm just going to turn the heat down as well before I add the other butter. Okay, that butter's looking really good, so just chuck those leeks on top. As I say, you're only doing it this way if you've got nice, big, thick, juicy pork steaks like I've got. If you've got those little thin ones that are about as thick as a schnitzel, get them out, otherwise they're going to be cremated. Look at that, yum. Alright, so just let that cook through. We've got 10 minutes on the pumpkin, so I'd suggest you turn this down to a low temperature. Maybe just flip them over so that the leeks are now on the bottom. And at this time I would start to get either 4 dinner plates out because you're serving it up for 4, or 1 dinner plate and 3 containers out because you're freezing 2 and having 1 tomorrow. So gather up those goodies. Alright, I'd turn that off and remove it from the heat, otherwise it's all just going to dry out and go really dry, and you don't want that. So lift that off, and it should stay warm until the pumpkin mash is done. So my theory about cutting it smaller actually worked, because that is nice and soft when I stabbed it. So what we need to do now, transfer it into a bowl. I'm going to give it a smash. Oh, it smells so good because of the honey. Yum. It doesn't want to do what I want it to do, so pick up the paper and chuck it over. Alright, get rid of that paper. Say bye to it. Okay, and your baking pan. Pop that straight in some hot water. The beauty of using the baking paper means that it should be easy to clean, but honey does weird things, so you never know with honey. Alright, look at that. Smash it with your smasher. And we're going to add half a cup of honey. Start again. We're not adding half a cup of honey. I knew that. Half a cup of cream. There you go. My buzzer went off. Too slow, buzzer. Alright, drizzle that cream through. That is a really creamy mash. You can almost just do this with a spoon. I actually like this masher because, as you saw, I could use it as a rake as well. Clever things. Clever things in my house. Alright. That is the creamiest mash ever. Season that with salt and pepper, as much or as little as you like. Keeping in mind, please, whatever you freeze is going to get more intense. So my suggestion is to just crack a little bit, and then when you're ready to serve or eat or cook or whatever, then you do it. Alright, so dish up, divide that between 4, top with a steak each, and then a bit of the leek on the top. So let's go. There you go, that's a pretty fancy meal right there. You've got your pork, you've got your veggies, 1 for tomorrow, 2 for the freezer. The ones for the freezer, write on it what it is and the date, and just let them cool for a while before you put them in the freezer. But that is 4 meals. Awesome. Enjoy, and I'm going to catch you next time.